Welcome to thestockminer.com. I'm Brian Johnson. And another volatile day in the markets. Sharp move to the downside. Looked like maybe the bears were going to be in for a little bit of a run. But heading towards the middle of the day, kind of the early afternoon, the bulls took right over. Nothing but another opportunity for them to buy the thing back up. Now, technical analysis standpoint, it was actually a pretty clean move all day long. If you are familiar with Elliott Wave, it's pretty clean to count the waves intraday today, and teaming that along with my technical analysis, things were pretty clear when we got into some really lower heavy support areas, and it's pretty clear by what we've been looking at here on the chart. What you see is 23 points by the end of the day down for the Dow, but I mean, very minimal compared to where we were. We were down quite a ways there for a while. And you can see what were my underlying areas. 11,625 makes sense. 11,6 and 11,580-ish areas. Those are my more conservative entries to the short side. And the low today was 11,599.68. So you can see these areas holding very well. No real big surprise that we bounced when we got down into those areas. So as it is right now, a little bit of a pullback here in the markets. Not the pullback, but a pullback. Still nothing really broken from a bull side. I really want to see these lower levels come apart. And we just didn't see it by the end of the week. Looking at the daily on the Dow, you can see that this thing ended up putting in kind of a doji slash, not really, I'm not even going to call that a hammer candle, but kind of a doji candle here by the end. You can see how far down we got once again, and then all the way back up. Now, we did not test the 20, didn't even sniff it, really. Got, I guess, kind of close, but still 40 points away from even touching that 20-day. That is still my bigger target, still the bigger area that I'm looking at going forward into next week. This is just nothing but a bull pullback, though, so I have to continue to be a little bit more neutral to bullish in my stance. Okay, by the way, the move that we saw today, that sharp move to the downside, when we get ready for that pullback, I expect to see a lot of that, even probably heavier in the bigger picture. So keep that in mind. What you saw today, that overall feel is what it's going to be like when we pull back. But it's going to be, I think, a lot more violent, a lot more sharp on that pullback. NASDAQ 60-minute, you can see we got right back up here, once again, kind of break even on the day. This pullback came right back into the 50-period moving average area. This one wasn't quite as clean as the Dow was, but you can see we just came back to test this area here before bouncing right back to the upside. Now, no big highs today or anything like that. Still finished just a teeny bit down for the day, but obviously the daily is going to show us in more of a. Now, this one looks like a hammer candle. Ooh, a topping candle. Yes, it is a topping candle, but not a big deal till we get into next week's trading. So I'm not looking at it in any big. From any big standpoint right now. Just, it doesn't make a difference to me. We have tested the 20-day on the NDX and it held very well. We have not seen that in some of the other indices. That's really what I'm watching for into early next week. For the week, up again. These weeklies just keep looking stronger and stronger as we keep going. Keep in mind, 1, 2, 3, whatever. Looks like it's finishing a little topping area up here. So we will certainly be looking for more areas and opportunities to get short coming into next week. I think we're very extended at this point. But for the time being, up very sharply for the week in the NASDAQ. SPX 60-minute also very sideways. Look at this whole consolidation. What does this and what has this meant to us? Bullish behavior, guys. Look, move up sideways, move up sideways, move up sideways. This range is just a little larger than what we've seen in the past, but it's the same thing. It's lather, rinse, repeat, guys. Nothing's changed here. Still neutral to bullish within the markets itself. Here was that lower area looking for that 1260, 1255-ish area. Never got to it, never got below it. So no real conservative entry to the short side, and nothing was broke right here. Kept all of this intact very well. Finished right at and just below the 20 50-period moving average here, but overall it's all sideways. It still looks like there wants to be a little bit more of a push-up to go. Daily, same type of thing, putting in this little hammerish type candle, setting itself right up here towards that 1270 area. 1270 to 1280 I said would act as probably pretty strong resistance area. We had a high of 1278. We closed right at 1271. So this is holding very nicely for the time being. This just looks like a bull pullback. Once again, no test yet of that 20. That's what I'm ultimately looking at on any push to the downside. And no real reason to panic from the bull side. Just a slow grind up. But this still looks like a little bit of a pullback to me. Moving ahead to the weekly, you can see same thing here, looking very good on the weekly. Nice white candle, continuing the sharp move. Volume was decent this week. Granted, we've had, kind of the coming out of the Christmas, New Year's type thing. So this is okay volume. It's not spectacular volume, but it is decent volume coming into the beginning of the year. And you can see the push is still upwards. So next couple weeks, expect to start to see something more major happen in the markets. But until those major levels are broken for me, whatever. We'll just keep tracking this thing to the upside, being cautious all the way. The VIX, yeah, same thing, kind of flat for the day, really going nowhere. Notice, though, that for 2 straight weeks we did manage to hold outside of this little pattern we've been watching. This is the first time we've done this, going all the way back to May, June, July time frame. We have not broken and held this for longer than 1 week. You can see the pop here and the run right back into it, but now we have 2 solid weeks of holding outside that line. Maybe things are starting to change now in the markets. I do believe that is the case. So we will absolutely be watching this come into next week. No question about it. Apple was up, resting very, very nicely. Look at this little shallow pullback it had coming into today. The rest of the markets were moving down pretty violently. Apple did have a sharp move, but did not last long. This is what happens with strong stocks. So, once again, no, I don't like to short Apple. This is why. The markets were moving down, and Apple, it really didn't go anywhere most of the day. Very, very slow. But when the market picked back up again, oh yeah, Apple was all on board then. This is why it's so very, very dangerous to short fundamentally strong stocks. Very dangerous. This ended up $2.39 up for the day. Definitely doing better than any of the markets. They all finished down. This is what you can get when you really watch these things. A beautiful intraday trade, though. Once I saw that bounce coming, this was one of the first charts I flipped over to and started looking for areas to get in. Apple Daily, same thing, just moving its way back up. Nice little white candle there, sitting itself up and looking very pretty from a daily standpoint. Apple Weekly doing the same thing, getting close to this upper area. Now we'll start a candle over, allowing more room to the upside. That's going to get us to about that 340-ish area. I'll be watching for that very, very closely coming into next week. FAS 60-minute, we saw a drop today. The banks didn't do so well. Some news came out today, so the banks didn't fare very well today. And you can see the big drop down here. However, by the end of the day, came back. Look, we retested support, came back and retested resistance. A very clean trade if you wanted to take it. Wasn't real big on trading these today just because they've been very unpredictable lately. This one here just basically shows us a sideways move for the week, not going anywhere. FAZ, same type of thing. Now we made a push back up, and we did get some opportunities at some more aggressive entries, but look, this overhead resistance held very nicely today up around that 930-ish area, and now a pullback into this blue line. So I'm going to keep these lines here. I'm going to trace them into next week. And let's see if we don't get a break. I'm looking for moves up above these areas here if I'm going to get long the FAZ. But until that happens, yeah, I really don't care at this point. Still very violent trading within these, being very cautious. Now, this is a couple of days. Bigger picture, you can see that while that, looks really good from a 60-minute standpoint, it really hasn't made any progress in the daily. So, if this rally continues next week to the bull side, the banks will have to go with them. That'll mean further downward pressure on the FAZ, which should put us right back or very close to this blue line if we get that kind of weakness. I should say the strength in the bank, which will bring weakness to the FAZ. All right, we'll talk more about it this weekend. Hope you guys had a good week of trading. some very, very good trades from the subscriber standpoint this week, and we were able to actually pull some out of the markets on the daily videos as well. So I hope you guys played along, mark your areas. Hope you took some trades. Hope you made some money. I'll be back with you again on Sunday. See you then.